A few years ago, I never imagined that I would be talking in English to foreigners on YouTube. But today, here I am talking to you, and I am not the only one. Recently, you have noticed something unusual happening on YouTube. More and more ordinary people from Vietnam are starting YouTube channels and sharing their everyday lives. And honestly, I will be one of them. Why? Why are so many ordinary Vietnamese people
pencils,
suddenly
notebooks,
showing off on
water
YouTube?
bottles,
Are we all
jackets.
chasing YouTube money?
Instead of
Let me
spending
show
a lot
you
of
this.
money buying food at the supermarket.
This Vietnamese YouTube channel was created only 4 months ago, yet it has already reached nearly 3 million views. But that's not even the most surprising part. She has received more than 4,800 donations. Since each donation is at least $4, that means she earned around $19,000 from donation alone. To earn that much money at my previous job, I would have had to work for more than 4 years without spending a single cent. Seeing that made me stop and ask myself one simple question. Should I start a YouTube channel like hers? Of course, earning money is part of the reason. I have no problem admitting that. But if you think money is the whole reason, you are wrong. I am going to share 5 reasons, but I think the reason number 4 is the one that explains everything. Number 1, we copy Chinese creators. The first reason is actually very simple. We saw ordinary Chinese creators sharing their daily lives, and many of us realized maybe we can do that too. Over the past 6 months, more and more ordinary people from China started making YouTube videos. Many of those videos reach millions of views. Maybe YouTube is blocking China, so for many years, people outside the country had very few chances to see what everyday life there actually look like. When normal Chinese people started sharing their real lives, they became curious. They simply wanted to see what life in China was really like through the eyes of someone who was living there. Watching those videos make many Vietnamese creators realize something. Foreigners, especially those in the West, are not interested in famous places or cutting-edge technology. They are also curious about ordinary people living ordinary lives. That idea completely changed the way many of us look at YouTube. We are not trying to copy Chinese creators. They simply show us that an ordinary life could be interesting to people on the other side of the world. And the second one doesn't start with Chinese. It started with our lives. Number 2, Vietnam will become the next China. So, you may have heard people say this before. Vietnam will become the next China. Vietnam will become the second China. A more modern economy, more factories, more investment, more opportunities. Maybe that's true. But before celebrating that future, look at what many young people in Vietnam are going through today. When I was in school, people always told us, study hard, get a degree, and you have a stable future. That promise doesn't feel as certain anymore. Finding a good job has become much harder. Many fresh graduates struggle to find work at all. Some end up becoming delivery drivers. Salaries are rising much more slowly than the cost of living. Many people say that once you lose your job after the age of 40, finding another one seems impossible. Companies often prefer younger employees who are willing to accept lower salaries. Some people still have jobs, but their workload is increasing. and they have to work with the fear of being laid off. I have felt this very directly in my own life. I lost my job because the company used robots and automated machines to increase production. A production line that once needed around 40 workers now only require 4 or 5. That's why, for many people like me, YouTube doesn't feel like a dream of become famous overnight. It feels more like the second plane. When you are unemployed, even a small amount of income can mean far more than most people imagine. If you could earn money from YouTube, that's wonderful. If it doesn't, life simply goes on. But at least you gave it a try. Number 3. AI changed the game. I don't know whether I should laugh or cry. AI is one of the reasons I lost my job. But without AI, I probably wouldn't be here talking to you. A few years ago, starting an English YouTube channel felt almost impossible for most Vietnamese people. Even if you had something interesting to share, there was one big problem: language. But AI changed everything. Most of us weren't confident enough to speak English. Now, AI voice tools can help us sound much more natural. Today, AI can help you write scripts, translate subtitles, review your videos, and even reply to comments. It can guide you step by step, making things that once required a professional team possible. Making videos has also become much easier. A modern smartphone is more than enough to shoot high-quality videos. So there's no need to spend thousands of dollars on a professional camera anymore. The camera is no longer the problem. You also don't need to be a professional editor. Editing apps like CapCut now are very easy to use. Almost anyone can learn the basics of video editing in just a few weeks. And the type of content we are making doesn't require advanced filmmaking skills. We are simply filming what we do every day and talking about what we think. That's it. For the first time, creating content for a global audience feels possible for ordinary people. Number 4. AI-generated content is no longer as exciting as it once was. Today, the internet is filled with video made by AI, perfect cinematic shots, complicated visual effects, and voices that don't even belong to real people. Everything looks polished, impressive, and almost too perfect. But maybe people are beginning to get tired of that. After seeing so much artificial content, many viewers are starting to return to something much simpler. No cinematic technique, no complicated effects, no AI voice, just a real person, a real camera, and an ordinary life. That kind of content makes the internet feel human again. But showing your real life is not as easy as it sounds. Most of us are comfortable to share the highlights, a nice meal, a beautiful photo, or the part of life that makes us look successful. We are much less comfortable showing the difficult parts like anxiety, unemployment, financial pressure, or the moment when we don't know what to do next. We start worrying about what other people might think. What if my former coworker sees this? What if people laugh at me for trying something new? What if my relatives think my life is not going well? Once people around you see your struggles, you may have to deal with judgment or comparison. That's why being honest in front of a camera can sometimes feel more difficult than making a highly edited video. I know my English is not perfect, and neither is my life. But when life becomes more difficult, we have to do something. We cannot simply give up, right? My parents did every kind of work they could to raise me and give me a better life. They never had the luxury of waiting for the perfect opportunity. Once you understand, you begin to realize that these ordinary videos are not just about the content. For some of us, they are a way to keep moving forward. Number 5. Foreigners show Vietnam. Here's what locals see. Many foreign creators come to Vietnam and make videos about the cost of living, street food, transportation, and landscape. But that's still a foreigner's perspective. What about the perspective of the people who actually live here? People are not only curious about Vietnam as a country, they are curious about the ordinary people. What do we cook when money is tight? How do we save for the future? What makes us anxious? How do we try to build a decent life? Some people watch this video and decide to visit Vietnam for a vacation. Others become interested in moving here, starting a new life, or even finding a Vietnamese wife. And when people watch these small details, they begin to realize that ordinary people in different countries are not as different as they once imagined. Maybe that's why these videos connect with many people, not because they have the best editing or the most beautiful locations, but because they are honest. One ordinary life will never represent an entire country, but it can be enough to make someone on the other side of the world say, I understand Vietnamese a little better now. So, if you are curious about what everyday life in Vietnam is really like, I hope you will stick around. Not the version from travel brochures, not the version from the news, just the life of an ordinary Vietnamese person trying to figure things out one day at a time. Hi, I'm Chung. This channel is where I will share my daily life, my thoughts, and the little moments that make up living in Vietnam today. My English isn't perfect, and neither are my videos, but they are real. If there's anything you'd like to know about life in Vietnam, leave me a comment. I'll do my best to answer it, or maybe even make a video about it. Thanks so much for watching, and I hope to see you again in the next one.